Welcome to PlayBranson, the show where you get to know Branson's entertainers better. I'm your host, Chris Meyer, and today's episode is brought to you by iBranson.com. It's the place where you can plan your entire Branson vacation, so be sure to visit iBranson.com. Our guest today is Riley Jenkins, and he's a performer with $1 Million Quartet at Shepherd of the Hills. Now, Riley Jenkins isn't just any performer. He's an award-winning Elvis tribute artist. Now, folks, I got to ask you this question. Have you seen our new PlayBranson magazine? If you're in town and you want to know more about Branson shows, attractions, golf, the lakes, and more, you need to pick up PlayBranson, and guess what? It's free. It's located all over town in racks. Check your area hotels or other local establishments. Now, it's time to make your reservations for Ozark Mountain Christmas. It started and it goes through the first part of January. What a great time to be in Branson. If you've never been to Branson in Christmas, you've got to come. It is a magical wonderland. There's so much here to do. Whether it's shopping, going through the Christmas light displays, or 6.5 million lights at Silver Dollar City, there's a ton to do. So make your reservations now. Folks, we'll be back with our guest in just a moment.
The boys are back in Branson. $1 Million Quartet takes you back to 1956 when Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, and Jerry Lee Lewis actually came together for the greatest jam session in music history. We're serving up a delicious dinner while you enjoy an unforgettable night of rock and roll. $1 Million Quartet, exclusively at the Shepherd of the Hills in Branson. Book your tickets online right now for an up-close and personal blast from the past.
Hey folks, welcome to PlayBranson. On today's show, for the very first time, I have Riley Jenkins. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I am so honored to be here, Chris. Thank you.
It is great to have you here. And folks, Riley is an entertainer out at Shepherd of the Hills at the $1 Million Quartet, and he performs as Elvis.
Yes,
and we're going to talk about the show, but I want to talk about you and your background because you are a young entertainer. And tell us how you got to this point in Branson, Missouri.
Yes, so I am originally from a small town called Paris, Tennessee. It's in West Tennessee, about 2.5 hours away from Memphis. We are very fortunate to say that we were one of the first cities that Elvis played back in 1955 when he was actually on the Sun Records label, which funnily enough ties in with $1 Million Quartet, which we'll talk about a little later. But like I said, I'm from Paris, Tennessee, born and raised. When I was 3 years old, I became an Elvis fan. I was introduced to Elvis through the song Blue Suede Shoes, and it changed my life forever. When I was 6 years old, I decided to enter my first grade talent show, and I went as Elvis. I had been Elvis for Halloween the previous year beforehand, so I had a Halloween Elvis jumpsuit, just like the one in the Aloha from Hawaii special from 1973 with the eagle and all that. I had a Halloween Elvis wig and some big old sunglasses and a sparkly microphone, and I sang Blue Suede Shoes for all of my friends and their families in the audience, and the place just erupted. The moment I sang, well, it's a 1 for the money, 2 for the show, 3 to get ready, now go cat go. I knew right then that being an entertainer in some form of fashion was exactly what I wanted to be. So when I was 9 years old, my grandmother took me to my first ever Elvis tribute artist concert, where I got to see a gentleman by the name of Sean Clush and another gentleman who lives not too far away from here by the name of Cody Ray Slaughter.
Oh, yeah.
And I was introduced to this world that I never even knew. You know, like I said, I had done talent shows and stuff like that, but I never knew there was this world where gentlemen, and where anyone really could pay tribute on this form of platform to our hero, Elvis Presley. Mm-hmm. So that night changed my life forever. And instantly right then I was like, yep, this is exactly what I want to do. I want to be an Elvis tribute artist. So when I was 14, I was taken to my first ever Elvis Week in 2016 down in Memphis, held every year in honor of Elvis's passing. And it was off to the races from there. Mm-hmm. And here we are. I'm 22 years old and just so grateful to be here in Branson, Missouri, one of the entertainment capitals of the world. Now, not only paying tribute, but portraying my hero, Elvis Presley, in the Tony Award-winning Broadway musical, $1 Million Quartet.
I love how you had this, like, at such a young age, like, you had this, here's what I want to do, and you kept working for that goal And so how did you get to Branson, though? Talk about how that happened.
Yes, so I had come out here a couple times for the Branson Elvis Festival, which is a preliminary contest for the Ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist Contest held every year during Elvis Week in Memphis. However, I had not really ever come out here for anything other than that. I had also come out here a few times to see some of my friends when they were performing as Elvis out at Legends in Concert. But again, never really had come out here very much, but I had always known about the show $1 Million Quartet being out here when it was originally out here at the Welk Theater, and always had dreamt of being a part of my own show out here in Branson, Missouri, and also always dreamt of being a part of $1 Million Quartet. So around February of last year, I saw through a friend of mine this audition ad on Facebook, and I just was like, well, look, it's a no until you try. I'm going to throw my ring into the hat and give it a shot. I sent in my audition pieces on a Thursday, and then on Monday, the good Lord above blessed me with one of the greatest phone calls of my life saying I got the part, and here we are, and it's just been such an amazing experience.
Oh my goodness. So you were watching, you're on the wherever these auditions are, you were watching, but you'd been to Branson, you had some familiarity.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Now, let's talk about, because you skipped over some of these really good things where you've won some contests.
Yes, sir.
And so tell people about some of these contests that you've won.
Yes, so the first time ever, I've been very blessed to have competed in the Ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist Contest, held every year, like I said, in Memphis during Elvis Week, and it crowns the Ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist of that year. And all of this is endorsed and put on and sanctioned by Elvis Presley Enterprises, Elvis's estate. And I've been so blessed and grateful to have been a part of that competition for 3 years now. The very first time, I was representing the 2019 Elvis Fantasy Fest in Portage, Indiana, just right outside of Chicago. Of course, that was taken over into 2021 because, as we know, 2020, we had the COVID pandemic. I also have been so blessed to represent the 2023 Nashville Elvis Festival, and currently right now I am representing the 2024 Branson Elvis Festival. I'm still the reigning champion, and it was such a huge honor for me to represent this amazing place that I've now called my home now. And I was so grateful once I made it to Memphis this year to have been in the top 5 in the Ultimate Elvis Tribute Artist Contest, making me one of the top 5 in the world.
So yeah, I was like, when you say top 5, it's top 5 in the world, because here's what's happening, and you tell me if I'm wrong, but you're having these Elvis competitions around the country. The top people are coming from that, going to the final one, and then you're in the top 5 in the final.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes.
Folks, that is amazing. And this guy's only 22 years
yes, sir.
old.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes.
Now, I've got to tell you that not too long ago, I went to $1 Million Quartet out at Shepherd of the Hills. I hadn't been in a couple of years, and I saw him perform, and he did a great job. So, and you wouldn't do a great job and be in the show, right? I mean, you have to do a great job to be in the show.
Oh, yes. Well, I also have to say I have an amazing cast alongside of me and crew. They're all fantastic, and it truly does take all of us to make the show go. We're such a great unit, a great team, and we've become such a great family. So I'm just so honored to stand on that stage with each and every single one of them.
Yeah, but I think it's a great example of, if you put your mind to something and start working on that craft, and don't give up. Did you ever want to give up?
Oh no! I mean, the thing of it is when it comes to Elvis, I always say this: his music, his legacy is timeless, and there's just something about him. And shameless plug here. There's something about him that just makes you can't help but fall in love with him.
Yeah. Well, and you think about how long Elvis has been dead and still how popular he is. It does talk about the timelessness of the music, because really, he really helped in a lot of cases invent the rock and roll genre.
Right. Well, he was the one that opened that door for all people, all walks of life, all genres, to be able to truly, be themselves, and do what their heart desired. There was before Elvis, there was a little bit of, these people were over here and these people were over here. And after Elvis, he brought everyone together and just said, hey, it's okay to be you, and it's okay to do you.
Yeah. Okay, folks, we're going to stop right here. We'll be back more with Riley in just a second to talk about $1 Million Quartet. Hang tight. Going to Branson for some relaxation and fun? You've got to stay with Branson's award-winning hotel family, Meyer Hotels. Meyer Hotels features 4 hotels in Branson with the best locations for your trip. Choose from brands you know and trust, like the Holiday Inn Express on Green Mountain Drive, the Best Western Centerpoint Inn, Comfort Inn at Thousand Hills, and the Comfort Inn and Suites. Enjoy refreshing indoor pools and hot tubs. Do you like free? How about a free hot breakfast each morning? Free vacation planning services, and of course, smiles are always free. Want even more value? Go to MeyerHospitality.com and join our e-club to save 15% off your next stay and check out incredible deals with our vacation packages. Call 1-877-FUN-STAY to book Branson's award-winning hotels or visit MeyerHospitality.com. It's your safe choice for award-winning lodging in Branson. MeyerHospitality.com. Hey folks, welcome back to the show. On PlayBranson today, we have Riley Jenkins, and Riley is the Elvis impersonator. Well, he impersonates Elvis on Million Dollar Quartet. And so maybe someone has never heard of Million Dollar Quartet. They don't know anything about it. Tell people about this show.
Yes, so Million Dollar Quartet actually is based off of a true event called the Million Dollar Quartet that happened on December 4th, 1956 at Sun Studio in Memphis, Tennessee. That night, Carl Perkins, the father of rockabilly, or the king of rockabilly, he's been called both, was having a recording session at Sun Studio where many, many great artists started their career at. And on that recording session, he had a session player at the time who was still an unknown recording artist. He had just recorded his first ever single for Sun Studio. And that gentleman was named Jerry Lee Lewis, the killer himself. So as I was saying, Carl Perkins was having a recording session. Jerry Lee Lewis was playing session piano for him. And unbeknownst to anyone, Elvis shows up with a girl that he had met in Las Vegas on a vacation at the time. He shows up that very night just to say hello, see his old friends and all that. And one thing leads to another, and an impromptu jam session breaks out. Now, Sam Phillips, who is the owner and record producer at Sun Studio, who founded all these amazing artists, seeing this jam session between Elvis Presley, Carl Perkins, and Jerry Lee Lewis break out, instantly calls up Johnny Cash, the man in black himself, and says, to get down there and join in on the action. And then the next phone call he makes is to the Memphis Press Scimitar, which is one of the longest running newspaper companies in Memphis, Tennessee, to come down here and take a picture that has become one of the most iconic pictures in rock and roll history of all time. So with that, around the early 2000s, some gentlemen by the name of Colin Escott and Floyd Mutrux took this real-life event and wrote a Broadway musical and a story kind of circling around this real event. And it went on to win a Tony Award on Broadway. And as you said, the show was originally out here in 2015 to 2019 at the Welk. But last year we brought it back, and we're out at the Shepherd of the Hills Playhouse Theater here in Branson.
Yeah, and so this is the first full year of the show since it's been back. Now, it came in last year, but it wasn't a full year.
That's correct, yes. Yeah. So last year we started up about June, so about midway through the summer, and then ran. But this year has been a full year, and we've had amazing shows and amazing crowds.
Yeah. And so the night I went, folks, it was, well, here's the other thing, is not only is it a show, but you get a meal.
That's right, yes. It's a dinner and a show. I mean, you can't beat that.
Yeah. And so I went and ate and watched them perform, and the crowd loved it. It was a packed house that night. And you've got a lot of what I'd say interesting things going on in this show. Can you talk about any of those interesting dynamics?
Yes. So as you were saying, there are some interesting dynamics that people probably would not know. So from the beginning of the show, it is informed to the audience that Elvis is no longer a Sun Records recording artist. He has now left Sun and gone to RCA Victor, a much larger recording label. However, like I said, he's just come back from an amazing year. 1956 was what many people call Elvis's breakout year. This is the year when everything truly happened for Elvis. This is the year when pretty much all the songs we know and love were recorded in this one year. So it was just truly the biggest year of Elvis's life. And he's come back just to, see his friends and his family and be back home in Memphis for the holidays and just stop in and say hello. Like I said, however, though, let's flip the page here. Johnny Cash is now about to leave Sun Records himself and sign with Columbia. And Carl Perkins, who is the reason why everyone's here that night, because he's having a recording session, has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because, unfortunately, Carl Perkins had gotten into a tragic car accident that thankfully he survived. But because of that, his original rendition of Blue Suede Shoes has kind of been forgotten about, because when Carl got in that car accident, Elvis went on television and did his rendition of it. And because of that, more people have gotten on to Elvis's version versus Carl. So there's a little bit of a tension here between Elvis and Carl. And then, like I said, Jerry Lee Lewis is an unknown at the time. He's just a session piano player for Carl that night. However, he's trying his hardest to, finally make his way in and make his mark. And he does, I will say, spoiler alert here, he does so because when you're talking about the killer himself, well, he's got that drive and determination, like you said earlier, to just do that.
It's a crazy thing. And then your girlfriend in the show, she also sings some, and she does a great job as well. And tell people her name.
Yes, so my girlfriend in the show is named Diane, but her real name is Miss Lindsay Perincchio. Now, Diane is the girl that Elvis met in L.A., and she is a singer, and we are so blessed to have Lindsay in the role of Diane. She does a phenomenal job. Most people don't know that Elvis actually did bring a girl that night. Unfortunately, in the original picture where the girl is sitting on top of the piano, she was cropped out for many, many years. And so for many years, people never knew about this mystery girl, as she is called. But we are so grateful and honored to be able to finally bring this Elvis mystery girl to light, and people just fall in love with her at the end of the show. They're hooting and hollering for her just as much as they are for us. So it's so great to have Lindsay on board with us.
So folks, the thing I like about this show is it's different than a normal Branson show. It has words, that's the Broadway style, but then it also has music in it, and it really combines. You could call it a play. I don't know if that's what you guys call it, but you could almost, it's just a different type of show here in Branson.
Yes, well, we like to say it's a 50s rock and roll concert or rock and roll review meets a Broadway play, and just mixing them together, because it is part play, part theater, but it also is part rock and roll, and what rock and roll in the 1950s stands for. So it's nothing like you've ever seen before. It's not like, you're going to see, Shakespeare, or you're going to see, Grease or something like that. This is where all the music you hear is 100% live. Every one of us play our own instruments, and it is truly, like I said, rock and roll concert meets Broadway theater.
Yeah. I got to ask a question, because I've always wanted to know this question, is when the guys go outside to smoke, are they really smoking?
Well, unfortunately, to bust any theatrical illusions, no, they are not smoking. But we have had a couple people actually ask that question.
Yeah, I'm like, are they really smoking? Because people just don't smoke like that anymore. But I'm like, I understand from the time and the theatrics, So I was like, I want to know. So here's the other thing. I want to comment on this, and we're about out of time. But when I went to the show, folks, one thing I don't hardly ever see in a Branson show is an encore. And these guys did an encore, and it was amazing. And I was telling you that even before we started doing this interview, that it was standing room. People were like, do you want more? And everybody was like, yes. And you guys came back out and you just killed it.
Oh, well, I tell you what, each one of us loves the encore that you speak of so much. It's our favorite part of the whole show, seeing the whole audience up on their feet, just rocking out one last time. I'm not going to give any spoilers away. You'll have to come see the show to find out what that encore is like, but I'll tell you what, you will be happy that you did, because we do. I will brag on us a little bit. We do rock it out.
Yeah. Okay, tell people once again where you're at and what times and nights you perform, and if you don't get it, I'll do it later.
Yes, so you can come see $1 Million Quartet live at the Shepherd of the Hills Playhouse Theater now through November 22nd. We are performing Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 7:30 p.m. And around the beginning of October, we will start doing shows on Tuesdays at noon.
There you go. Okay, folks, we'll be back in just a second to wrap the show up.
The boys are back in Branson. $1 Million Quartet takes you back to 1956 when Elvis Presley, Johnny Cash, Carl Perkins, and Jerry Lee Lewis actually came together for the greatest jam session in music history. We're serving up a delicious dinner while you enjoy an unforgettable night of rock and roll. $1 Million Quartet, exclusively at the Shepherd of the Hills in Branson. Book your tickets online right now for an up-close and personal blast from the past.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. We've been talking to Riley Jenkins with $1 Million Quartet. Now, they perform Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Fridays at 7:30 p.m. through November 22nd. So there's not a lot of time to see them yet for the rest of the year, so you're going to want to make your reservations right away. Next week, we'll have Tim Hadler with Straight to Branson. It will be his first time on the show, so you want to check that episode out. Now, if you need help planning your Branson vacation, be sure to visit ibranson.com, or you can call those folks at 1-877-ENTERTAIN. You can find the latest show schedules, attractions, and lodging options on ibranson.com, and there is still time to get here before the end of the season. Now, you can find our Play Branson episodes on social media, on Facebook, on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel at PlayBranson, and you can also find us on thevacationchannel.com. Support our local musicians. Go see some live entertainment this week. It will make you feel good. That's it for today. We'll see you next week here on Play Branson.